black thing go from left to right, and I thought, I'm going to die out here. No one's ever going to know.
I couldn't believe what my eyeballs were showing me. I'll never forget how evil the eyes were. It was horrible. I mean, I've never seen nothing that evil.
It ran towards me at a rate that I can't even explain. Turned and stared at me, and this look of, I just want to kill you. I want to say it was human, but it wasn't.
He was yelling at me to grab a gun, grab a gun. I was like, for what? He said, just grab a gun. And there's footprints all the way to the door of my house. It had went inside my garage, all the way to the door.
911, what are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sure.
See ya!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
You're listening to Sasquatch Chronicles. Check us out online at sasquatchchronicles.com. If you've had an encounter, email me. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Got a great show planned for you this evening. Going to be speaking to James, and James comes to us from East Texas. He had a very interesting encounter. He had a roadside crossing, and it made me think of Kumbo. You know, when Kumbo was on the air, we were talking about roadside crossings, and I was saying, gosh, it doesn't make sense that they would wait till the last minute to cross in front of a car. And he brought up a good point. He said, if you look at the size of the reports of the creature that people say they saw, you'll find that they generally are smaller. And tonight with James, it's no different. When you hear the description of the creature and what the creature did, it definitely sounds like a smaller one, but it's a very interesting encounter. I'll also be speaking to David, and David comes to us from Oklahoma, and he had a kind of a terrifying encounter. He was caught between a cougar and a Sasquatch, and in between him and those two animals was a dead deer. Very interesting account. And as I spoke to David throughout the week, real nice guy, real humble guy, real young guy. He has really shook up by this encounter. He was really shook up by it, and it was just a fascinating account. He's got a great description, too, on what he saw. If you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. And I was reading some of the comments under, when I had Paul Graves on Friday talking about his trackway, I was reading some of the comments under that episode. I know Matt M., he writes, I really enjoyed this one, Wes. I'm sure you have your reasons, but I really wish you would have more quote-unquote researchers like Paul Graves on the show. The reputable ones can share so much information and tell many fascinating encounter stories. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Matt, for the nice comment. I guess I'll address it. If there was more researchers like Paul Graves out there, trust me, I would have more quote-unquote researchers on the show. Guys like Paul Graves are hard to come by. What you hear on the air is Paul. Paul's not putting on anything. He's a very humble guy. He's a very nice guy. And he's actually what I would consider a researcher. Most of the others, that's my own personal opinion. I guess I'll address it. I'm going to sound like a dick, but so forgive me, Matt. But, you know, a lot of these researchers don't know any more than, I would guarantee my audience probably knows more than most researchers because they're too busy, most of them, they're self-publishing books and selling them on Amazon for, $1 or $2, and they're self-published authors and expert researchers. But the thing is whoever you follow, whatever researcher you follow, stop and ask him. If you're a listener to the show, stop and ask him. Say, tell me 5 things interesting about Sasquatch that no one else knows. And I guarantee none of them can do it. And so, before I started numbering the shows, I used to have a lot of these researchers on, or investigators, whatever people call themselves, and they weren't great shows. They didn't really add anything to the show. And so I'm happy to have more researchers on the show. If you guys have someone in mind, Matt, if you have someone in mind that you would like to hear on the show, I'm an easy man to get along with. Just shoot me an email and say, hey, what about this guy? What do you think of this? I'm always open to having more researchers, investigators on the show. If more guys were like Paul Graves, I would have them on every week. But I just have a hard time finding good researchers to come on the show. Most of them they tend to be boring shows. A lot of patting each other on the back and just stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting grumpy, but that's pretty much it, Matt. But if you have anyone in mind, definitely let me know. I know Michael S., he writes, there's a smart reason for keeping your distance from a pit bull. And then he gives me stats on pit bulls. But, and I don't want to argue with you, Michael, with regard to pit bulls, why they're terrifying dogs. I've never come across a pit bull I didn't like. They're very gentle, sweet dogs for the most part. I've come across German Shepherds that were more aggressive, but I don't have anything personal against German Shepherds either. But I do love my pit bulls, that's for sure. FS writes, great show. This researcher/expert was a breath of fresh air. Pictures, recordings, real name, actual locations, sort of. No trash talk of other researchers. Thumbs up. Thanks, FS, for the comment. Again, Paul he really is a nice guy. He's one of the few great people out there looking into this. And I'm so glad that the person that found the tracks, they got a hold of Paul, because if they didn't, you probably would have never heard about the tracks. Hillary H. Left me a nice comment from Australia and was talking about, it's a long comment, I won't read it to you guys, but one of the things in there, she wants me to stop saying that one should be killed. And Hillary, honestly, that's the way I feel. I really think that one should probably be killed. Would I feel great about it afterwards? No. Would I take a lot of joy in it? Probably not. But I think in order to prove this, I really think that it has to happen. DNA is a tricky thing, and I don't think it's going to be proved through DNA. I don't think it's going to be proved through videos. I don't think it's going to be proved through audios. I don't think physical evidence is going to prove it. Eventually, someone's going to have to shoot one and drag it in, and that's if the government doesn't step in and stop that from happening. But I'm sorry I pushed that narrative. That's just the way I feel. And it's, because I say it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But I honestly, I do feel that way. But I respect your comment. I respect your opinion. And thank you for the nice comment. And Charles R., he brought up a good point. If you guys get a chance to read his comment, he was talking about the orchard being cut down and how was the hominid actually doing a reconnaissance of the area and checking out areas where it had seen food before, had gathered food before. And that was a good point, Charles. I didn't think about that. When I see the tracks that Paul had put out, I was kind of shocked there was only that one set of tracks, but you could be right. I'd never thought about that before. And also towards the end of your comment, you're talking about how these creatures act differently in campgrounds than on people's property. In a campground, they're more curious to come in and check you out, but on your own property, they may view it as a territory, their territory. And so that's why there's aggression. Definitely a good point, Charles. As far as what you guys want to hear on the show for the members, if there's anyone out there you guys want to hear on the show, or if there's a show you'd like me to do, definitely shoot me an email. Let me know. I'm definitely open to ideas, and I want to do more shows for you guys. I was doing the open mic shows, and it seemed like most of the members didn't really like them, so that's why I kind of stopped doing the open mic shows. But I'm always open to ideas, or if there's someone you guys want to hear on the show, definitely shoot me an email. Again, it's wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. You guys as members know that. William G. writes, shows like this make up for any shortcomings. Thanks, Paul and Wes. William G., you're always welcome to come on, liven up the show. Anytime there's a shortcoming, you're always welcome to come on. But thanks for the nice comment. Let's jump into it tonight. I want to welcome James to the show. James, thanks for coming on tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm pleased to be on the show tonight.
I know you and your wife had an encounter back in 2003, and this is the Big Thicket National Preserve down there in Texas. If you would, for the audience, maybe start from the beginning. Tell us what you were out doing and what you ran into.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Basically, I live in an area that's very rural on the